No. I don't know how it'll go with all the RF in there.
Yeah, I'm not.
That fire will be behind Glenn. He's tried to get her off the racing surface as much as possible.
All I really need good love. Now give me that good love. Good love. All I need is love. Good love. Good loving, baby. Good love. Now, honey, please squeeze me tight. Squeeze me tight. Don't you want your baby to be alright? Be alright. I said, baby, now it's for sure. It's for sure. I got the feel, yeah. You got the cure. Got the cure. Everybody, yeah. All I really need is love. Now come on, now give me that love. Good love. All I need is love. Good love. Good love, baby. Good love.
join the fans at the creek.
Raceway. Explodes. See 1,500 horsepower Wild Bunch door slammers, wheel standing super stockers, and 9-second super sedans in a big night of awesome action. See who rules the road in the Ford versus Holden showdown. Eastern Creek Raceway, but that some people call the highway to hell. These are not the safest cars in the world, but when you want to be the fastest, you... Incredibly, the driver walked away. And here's another spectacular crash. Imagine blowing both your tires at nearly 300 miles an hour. There's not a lot you can do, except hang on and pray.
Well, all I can say, it was fantastic from my side of it, and it should have been from theirs, and it's a big shame that we can't come back. But actually, I apologise to Sano too, because he's seen a few of them go over now. But that's the way of drag racing. You just don't know what's going to happen. It was just like a bomb going off.
It's about to hit the cameraman.
The throttle jammed on full, and I tried to pull it back to the gears and slow down with the brakes, but I couldn't do anything about it. It just stayed on full throttle.
Dragsters. They may be the fastest accelerating vehicles on land. But that doesn't seem to bother this little fellow. From 0 to over 300 miles an hour in 4 seconds.
Go to the floor with the throttle. You got this hand on the steering wheel. As soon as you hit about 85 or 9,000 revs, put it in second gear. 8 or 9,000 in revs again, high gear, then hold on with both hands. As soon as you go through the traffic, push the clutch in, let off, get on the brakes, kill the switch, throw the parachute all at the same time. You go from 200 and probably 26 miles an hour to maybe 80 miles an hour in less than probably 1 second.
Faster than a space shuttle.
This weekend, and as always, Steve Evans has the details.
Just this past Thursday, New York City police actually blocked off Wall Street so that the King of Speed, Kenny Bernstein, Winston Cups, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and of course the Clydesdales could help their sponsor Anheuser-Busch celebrate 20 years on the New York Stock Exchange. The suits lined up for hours to get autographs from the drivers. Kenny rang the opening bell and Spirit soared. Unfortunately, the Dow didn't. Some minor profit taking. This weekend, Jim Epler celebrates his 100th start in NHRA Funny Car competition. 9 final round appearances, 3 victories, and of course the first to top 300 miles an hour in a fuel coupe. Happy centennial, Jim. And speaking of the WWF guys, Jerry Tolliver and the entire gang will be in Midtown Manhattan, New York City from 11 to 1 at the WWF restaurant for a big kickoff press conference a week from Wednesday, all leading up to the Matco Tools Spring Nationals at Englishtown. If you've heard that Scotty Cannon might be adding a second Oakley funny car, well, you've got good sources, and there will be the driver, Scotty Cannon Jr., just 20 years of age, who graduates from diver to driver. He's currently getting his license. The car is being built. It'll be out in 4 or 5 races as primarily an R&D car. Good luck, young man. John Force's Castrol Mustang getting this machine ready for the second round of funny car competition. Since the first race of the year, there has been a very real rivalry between the 2-car team of John Force and the 2-car WWF team led by Jerry Tolliver. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you've asked for it, you've demanded it, now you're going to get it. A bunkhouse brawl. It's Force against Epler. Tolliver takes on Pedregon. It's loser leave the state, Eli.
He got his reputation behind the wheel of Nitro Funny Cars, and at that time he worked with Bernie Federley, and they, you know, who now of course is with Austin Coyle, so they were a great team and won a lot of races in the Nitro Funny Car category, so it's not a real big change for the Ace.
Steve, Jerry Tolliver is first in points. This guy right here, Tony Pedregon, is 100 markers down in 4th, but this is not a rollover for Tolliver by any stretch.
Oh, my God, no. In fact, Pedregon has lane choice, and Tony, if you look at reaction times over the season, is far superior to Tolliver.
Tolliver used the Firebird in Richmond due to the added downforce. Of course, Pontiac has significant downforce edge at both Richmond and Atlanta, though they're going back to a Chevy Camaro in time for Englishtown, New Jersey. A lot of strategy to play out.
This ought to be a great matchup because these were the 2 guys that ran closest to each other in the first round, the 91 and the 92. Let's see if they can repeat.
Little staging battle. Reaction time big to Pedregon. The power bigger to Tolliver. A 493 at 306 miles an hour. Pedregon beat him at the lights.
Overcome that. He can get in this car, drive it to the other end, and win these drag races, and that's the most important thing for Jerry right now, is to not let some of the problems that he's had in the last few weeks overcome him or even be on his mind. He's got to just forget about him.
Kind of played out last week at Richmond too, didn't it?
Yeah, it made a big difference.
Hey, how many starts do you have? Huh? Well, beneath that hard hat, there is a smile, Steve.
Oh, yeah, the bunkhouse brawl has begun, and the first winner is Jerry Tolliver, the WWF, with big Dale Arms horsepower on the big, and that's what really made the difference there was the final charge.
Hey, that's the Army, baby. We got the Army. That man can make some horsepower, and I don't know what ran, what we cut. All I know is the bottom line is we got there first. That's the first half of SmackDown. Let's hope Epler does his job against Forrest and get rid of them Castro boys.
Okay, Eli.
Well, this is what's coming up next. Epler and Force, the other part of that SmackDown. John Force suiting up. He rolls next. Back, everyone. The Advance Auto Parts Southern Nationals is on TNN Sports. We've been with you for the better part of the last month. We'll go on with you towards Dallas here in the next few weeks. John Force, a 5-time Atlanta winner. Frank Hawley, you yourself were a winner here at Atlanta. Going to any track where you've had success, how much of an edge is that, if nothing else, just mentally?
Well, I think that there's a chance that a crew chief may have a certain combination that works well for a track. For the driver, it's probably psychological, and psychological advantages shouldn't be forgotten. I mean, that's a very real thing for the driver to feel confident.
There's our Las Vegas winner, Jim Epler. He's 5th in points, 177 down, while Force, with the win at Richmond last week, moved to 2nd in points, 69 behind Tolliver. Both cars dance, but it's going to be Force as being the dance partner for Steve Evans at the far end, because a 493 beats a 499. 303.
Tolliver in the second run and you third run, and you both have identical 493s, but you get lane choice.
Well, kind of going for it up there. Hate to do that against Epler shallow stage, but I know lane choice is critical. It kills, makes you look bad on the start line, but the overall picture works. But, well, he's been talking his stuff. Now it's his chance to prove himself. We'll see it happens.
Look forward to it.
Hey. I'm glad I got my seat set for this. Now, here's going to be maybe the race of the weekend. John Force, in only the 2nd meeting of the season against the WWF's team of Jerry Tolliver.
John Force is a many-time world champion. He's the guy that can, even when things are down, he can go up on the starting line and perform just as he's supposed to. The cars are virtually identical right now as far as performance goes. Dale Armstrong against Austin Coyle, that's a crew chief battle. What's going to be really interesting here that I want to watch is Jerry Tolliver's been doing a great job driving funny cars this year.
But those reaction times.
He had great reaction times last year, and this year he had one that was a little too good, a red light, and then he came back the next race and he sat on the starting line for a little while, and that was a problem. I just hope that Jerry kind of puts that stuff out of his mind, and we're going to find out if he's got the stuff that champions are made out of in a race like this.
When they met the first time, it was at the Checker Shucks Craig Nationals at Firebird in Phoenix, and Force got the win over Tolliver, a 5:10 to a 5:22. Of course, as Tolliver is quick to point out, well, yeah, that's right, but it's old history. Who do you like?
Well, I'll tell you, if you'd, it's kind of like picking a good stock. If you'd gone with John Force the last decade, you'd have made a lot of money.
The winner faces Camps in the finals here at the Advance Auto Parts Southern Nationals. Reaction time, Force. Smoke for Tolliver. Force is in the finals against Camps, and you called it. Go with the big horse. 491 at 309 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a wild ride. You take off, the car's accelerating at 5 Gs, all of a sudden it starts smoking the tires. You can see him back and forth fighting the steering wheel. He didn't need to continue at that point because he saw Force's car disappearing in the horizon.
Well, it's going to be a rematch, Steve, of the finals in Phoenix when Force beat Camps earlier this year.
The winner of the bunkhouse brawl right here with brute force, John, a 491. That was a mugging.
The old Hot Rod just speaks for herself. That's all.
The shortest John Force interview in history.
Stay with us. We'll be back with the Castrol Series after the break.
Last-minute preparations are underway for battle number 8. The combatants are standing by, awaiting their orders. It's going to be another close fight to the finish in the nitro classes. Get set. The green light is about to flash in the 4th annual Castrol Nationals.
Tony Schumacher and the Exide crew aren't jealous of Jerry Selzy getting a bye run in round number 2. That is 23 points, and Tony only leads Gary by 25 in the top fuel standings. But hey, Selzy earned it. He was low qualifier at 4:57, the best speed of the year at 322 miles an hour. But Tony also can go on the offensive. If he can get by Corey Mack in round number 2, he will meet Gary in the semis and try to take him out himself. On a sad note, yesterday the drag racing community gathered here to honor the memory of Fuzzy Carter, who recently lost his battle with cancer. As crew chief for Eddie Hill, Fuzzy was part of the first 4-second run and a Winston championship. But most importantly, a part of our lives we will always cherish.
Matchup. Bazemore closest to you in the Kendall colors. On the far side, the Oakley machine for Scotty Cannon. This was earlier today here at the Castrol Nationals. Watch what happens.
Right here you see Whit Bazemore has it backfire and blows that hatch off the hood, but look what Scotty Cannon has here. He broke some connecting rods that lets the oil come out. It gets on the hot exhaust headers, catches on fire. Right now Scotty is very hot. He can't see, and he's trying to stop that car.
Obviously a lot of concerns, but obviously a lot of damage. He talked after the accident with Steve Evans.
Scotty, you won the race, and then it just let go.
Well, we got all our second teams guy here. We got our second team with us. I'm about out of breath. That smoke don't breathe good. We got our second guys with us. We're gonna go back and see if we can throw this thing together and make it. We ain't got but 90 minutes, but they get some oil down or Mother Nature was to help us or something happen. Looked like last night in our sleep, we picked old hot rod back up. Went a 90-40, said, and it was on fire when we went through. We'll do better.
They've only got 75 minutes.
As obviously Scotty did, a $1,000 fine and a loss of 10 points. It's a big old penalty. Let's go to Steve Evans.
Thanks, Eli. How about that Ron Capps? How about that crew chief, Ed McCullough there? That 481 stunner in round number 1 was 18/100ths of a second better than anything they had done all weekend. That doesn't happen very often. And what Ron has done is set himself up as a one-man wrecking crew against the WWF team. Jim Epler was the victim on that 481, and now he gets Jerry Tolliver in the second round. Tolliver's still shaking his head. He has lost lane choice with a 488. That doesn't happen very often either, Eli.
But on this Memorial Day 2000, we're seeing a little bit of everything as the fans have joined us here at the Texas Motorplex. And we're so happy you're with us as well on TNN Sports. Good matchup here. Tolliver leading the points. Ron Capps, who has stood everybody on their ear here with a 481. A superb run, especially with the 90% rule. That's rewritten all the numbers for this season with 90% nitromethane, the most you can have in the fuel mix. Frank, he has just shown everybody how well you can go.
Well, yeah, Jerry Tolliver kind of had his way with the rest of the funny car field for the first few events, but lately John Force has got back in there and reminded everybody that he's a many-time national champion. And as you mentioned, Capps this morning, he flew down this racetrack, and he could be a lot of trouble for Jerry Tolliver.
Tolliver is first in points by 30. Capps is third. Hold on! Problems for Tolliver. Capps is taking it on with a 489 at 303 miles an hour.
Cars are difficult to handle. Watch here when he starts smoking the tires. See his hand over hand, over on the center line, smoke coming in the car. When that happens, these are not fun cars to drive.
Steve, he hasn't won since Topeka in 1998, but maybe today's the day.
He sure thinks it is, Eli. They didn't try to run another 481. I guarantee you, 489 is just plenty.
That's awesome. U.S. Tobacco, Chevrolet, Camaro. This thing, it gets out, and I know it's on a good run, and start talking that front end up. And you never know. You get up, you get staged, and it's Jerry Tolliver. We're talking a little bit of smack in the staging lanes. I said, hey, you're going to go in deep like Epler, and, you know, get things going, get your blood pumped up. And Ace reaches in, and before I run, he punches me in the chest. And that doesn't get your blood going. I don't know what will.
You got mine going. He just punched me in the chest.
I hear you. Ace being Ed the Ace McCullough, the longtime chief French crew chief on that machine. There's a great story right there. We've talked time and again about Tim Wilkerson over the years against veteran Tony Pedregon, who has all the John Force finances behind him. Wilkerson didn't qualify at Houston, didn't qualify at Atlanta, drawing this team right here. But you know, Wilkerson is one of those guys who had a lot of pride. And he said to me before, he said, don't count me out.
Well, I'd never count him out. He's a good racer. He's one of the drivers that came out of the Federal Motor Cars, that run the alcohol funny cars. Has done a great job over the years and really kind of finances this team himself.
Looks like he's got a problem right there.
Yeah, what's going on right now is he cannot get the car into reverse gear, and he was trying to move the throttle a little bit. They're waving him off the track. It's really too bad, but his day's done. The problem that exists here is the clutch would continue to drag, and you have to be able to get that clutch freed up before you can get it into reverse gear. So it's a bad way for Tim Wilkerson to end the day.
He won it. Here's a guy who has been tops in points virtually all of his career. He's now second, just behind Tolliver, facing Kristen Powell, who drives for Helen Hoffman. That's Al Hoffman's wife. And there's a team that has picked up different sponsors of late to go against the high bucks of John Force. They've got all sorts of folks helping out as best they can on the Helen Hoffman Kristen Powell machine, and a new crew chief taken over a few weeks ago, Andy Naring, replacing Ronnie Swearingen. It's a time of change for that Pontiac effort.
And I think Kristen's going to be happy with that. You know, when she started out in top fuel dragsters, she was a sensation. She drove real well. The car ran good. And when she got into the funny car, it didn't run that good that early on. And a lot of people started talking about, well, maybe she's not going to be a great funny car driver. I think she's doing a great job. She's finally got a car that's performing well. And although she's got really stiff competition against John Force, what a sweet victory this would be for Kristen Powell.
Mac Tools on board, Stagecoach is on board. Let's see what happens. Can we have a major upset here? Throwing the power to it, but she revs up the cylinders just past half track. Too much force from John at 486, 305 miles an hour. At the start line, so John Force with lane choice against Ron Capps when they meet later on our telecast. Now we'll find out whether Scotty Cannon's team has been able to effect all the repairs that were necessary after his fiery first round run against Whit Bazemore. A lot of pit activity has been taking place throughout the course of the last 75 minutes or so, because when Cannon burned the car up, I mean, you really can't reuse a whole lot of that stuff, Frank.
Well, right. I mean, of course it burns the body off, but it burns off all the plumbing on the car. There are plastic lines for all the pneumatic systems that runs everything from fuel lines to the clutch systems. They burn all the computer information off, or wiring off the car. It's just an absolute mess. So they start with a bare steel frame and have to literally build and wire and plumb a car over.
So that's what's been going on in the pits over the last hour and a half or so. Far end, Steve Evans.
Hey, John, what happened? You look kind of worried.
That really aggs. I'm hot. That blew up my brand new Action collectibles. Man, I can't fix them after I ruin them brand new. I hate racing that girl. Makes me real nervous. Push the numbers, trying to get lane choice. I didn't know what she run, but one thing, didn't put no oil on the racetrack, so that kind of nicked old Tolliver right there.
You got lane choice with an 86.
Now for Checker Shucks Reagan, Frank Pendragon against the rebuilt Oakley Camaro for Scotty Cannon. Cannon in the opening round again, if you're just joining us along the way, beat Whit Bazemore with a 494 at 287 miles an hour, but we had some fried green tomatoes when that baby was done.
Big fire, and as we said, had to rebuild just about everything on the car. You know, they're so complicated now, they probably got 100,000 parts. I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the car doesn't run up to the par.
But they were really sweating bullets, Steve, weren't they?
Oh, were they sweating bullets? That is a modern-day mechanical miracle, and probably it's on the starting line only because there were a couple of sportsman oil downs that bought him a little extra time.
The winner will face Tony Pedregon, so if Frank wins, he'll be going head-to-head against his brother.
I wonder if that fire is on Scotty's mind at all as he pulls up to the starting line now.
Well, I dare say you've been involved in some of those types of situations. Is it on a driver's mind?
Well, you want to try and not think about it.
Well, Scotty couldn't get going, and look at what Frank has happened to him. Pedregon is going to make it the distance. Scotty Cannon never really got out of the blocks. A 7.08 at 121 miles an hour. Sometimes you can not only be good, Frank, you got to have a little racing luck.
Well, yeah, the luck makes a big difference, but Cannon's car didn't sound real great when he started it, and as I said, there's so many different things that could happen. Big bang, an explosion, fire, blower. You see that little hatch right in the center of the hood. It blew off. It's designed to do that, to take that concussion away and let that concussion out through that hole on the hood so it doesn't blow the entire body off. It's something they added a few years ago and works quite well.
There is Scotty Cannon, his weekend done here at the 4th annual Castrol Nationals. Meanwhile, the matchups are now set for semifinal action in Funny Car. John Force with lane choice against Ron Capps, and then Tony Pedregon with lane choice over his brother, Frank Pedregon. We're coming right back. More coverage from Ennis, Texas. Glad you're spending your Memorial Day weekend with us here on TNN Sports. Back to Big D right after this. So now one half of the final is set in Funny Car. Who will be the opponent? That man, John Force, or the man in the other lane, Ron Capps? Capps third in points, Force is second in points, and remember the point leader, Tolliver, Jerry going out early here this afternoon.
Run of the weekend, so I don't think that John Force is in a situation right now where he could take Ron Capps lightly.
Steve, you agree?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Force's 3 victories this year, his final round opponent, or victim actually, was Ron Capps. There was some concern with John of getting this car ready. The supercharger explosion the previous round did a lot of body damage. In fact, one of his old crew guys walked by and he said, "I'll give you $500 to help." The guy said, "I'm in."
There you go. There you go. And of course, remember, folks, the other story that we've been following now for a while, John Force with 84 career wins in NHRA competition. Bob Glidden, the winningest driver in competition history with 85 victories. Of course, can take the win here today. He would tie the legendary Bob Glidden, but that's a couple of runs away from where we are right now. The winner meets Tony Pedregon in the finals here in Dallas. We've got a great race going, but things go mixing up for Capps near the finish. John Force gets the win with a 491, beating Capps' 494 to a record tire here, Steve.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, 4 seconds away. Man, that was a drag race.
I tell you what, that kid was out the window the whole trip. Kept seeing that US Tobacco boy. I said, come on, baby, make a move out here. And old Austin Horsepower, he got in trouble, started trucking. But man, I owe some of my sponsors a final here, and for Castrol and Mac Tool and everybody, it's in Ford. It's just good to be here.
I think the record. Let me ask you real quick, John. Is that record on your mind, John? John. Is the record on your mind, time, Glidden?
No, I wasn't even thinking about it. I don't race Glidden today. I was racing Capps.
Great answer.
Good answer. I'm hyperventilating just listening to the man.
I'm working on cars. I've done that all my life.
So too is that gentleman right there, John Force. And folks, you are about to sit in a possible history-making run right here. Bob Glidden, 85 career national event victories. That is #1 all time in the history of the National Hot Rod Association. John Force, with a win today, would tie Bob Glidden. For what was at one time, Frank, I dare say a mark that nobody ever felt might be touched.
Well, I think that that many victories is an unbelievable amount of numbers. Now, Bob Glidden, however, hasn't been racing for a number of years. He got all of his wins a little earlier in the last couple of decades than John has, and John came along and was really the dominant force of the 90s. And so I think that, without question, John Force, if it's not right now, is going to equal Bob Glidden's record and then surpass it, and probably this year.
John Force. And Tony Pedregon. Pedregon, the youngest of the Pedregon brothers. This year winless. He's 4th in points.
A good car. It goes fast because he has, as we said earlier, access to all the same talent, the same parts. Austin Coyle and Bernie Federle and all those guys, along with John Medlin, who's Pedregon's crew chief, all of them work together as a team.
John Force has won this year in Phoenix, Richmond, and Atlanta. If he wins today, he joins Bob Glidden in the history books. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching history being tied. John Force, with a win here today in Dallas, has just tied legendary Bob Glidden with 85 career NHRA national event wins. Austin Coyle and the whole crew celebrating. They go into the record books. Next victory puts them all alone at #1. Steve Evans, you're having quite a day down there at the far end.
Oh, we're having a hoot down here. You're like, John, you've taken the points lead from Jerry Tolliver, obviously tied Bob Glidden. Congratulations.
Yeah, the first thing I like to do is like to thank Ford and Bob Glidden putting that goal out there, that opportunity to go after an individual that was that great in history, and especially Castrol for 15 years of making it affordable to run a hot rod and hire a guy like Austin Coyle. The best out here, I think. Back him up with Bernie Federle and John Medlin, and it just makes this whole deal happen. So many sponsors. I wish I could have put my action car in the winner's circle, the black one, but she was wounded big, but she helped it get here. But so many people to thank. They know who they are. Mac Tool, all pro bumper to bumper. And bottom line, you know, to the ones we've lost up there, you know who we're talking about.
Haven't seen him that touched in a long time, Eli.
Indeed so. A very emotional John Force, a different side to that great superstar.
Yeah, he's got a lot of...
Start your engine.
Well, not so much as a Testarossa in sight, but plenty of testosterone in its place. If there was anywhere where having the biggest, the fastest, the loudest was absolutely vital, it's here.
Just the fun, I suppose, and the power. Loud noise must be big power, so
Yeah, I've always liked a bit of noise, yeah. A bit partial for a bit of noise.
Yeah, it's just like brute power.
And of course, the inevitable question. What about the theory that it's like a big car, little penis? How much truth is there in that?
I just think that's a wives' tale myself. I mean, I guess if you think about it though, I mean, if you did feel inadequate in an area, you might want to have something that you thought compensated for that. I mean, it's probably not totally out of the question.
Big motor, like they say, big penis.
We're of the opinion that if you've got to drive a really loud car or a really fast car, you must be lacking in some other department. What would you say to them?
It's definitely a lie. If you've got a red Ferrari, maybe.
Final time. Well, a very nervous man would be Peter Kapiris, but by the looks of things, he has, as he gets all out of shape in the burnout.
Well, what a burnout that one is. Kapiris putting on a show for the fans. What he ran over there is one of the interval timers. Let's have a look at it. All the sparks here actually from the headers, the exhaust pipes, it's rubbing on the exhaust pipes. Really an out-of-shape burnout, and he just gently nudges up against the timing marker. Kapiris was due to run up against Castrol's Troy Critchley, but unfortunately Troy has had an engine problem, so Kapiris will solo for the win.
Solo run, here he goes. He's still giving it a good shot. He gets out of shape again, hitting down the centre line, but Kapiris wins the top door slammer category here at the TAC Nationals, a 6.78, 337 kilometres per hour.
He might be happy, but I don't think the track crew will.
The engine's 541 cubic inch, built from George Smith, Clay Smith in the States. Barry from Hume Performance rebuilds the engine and does all the maintenance and all the work at the track and that. The blower was built by Hampton. It's only an 871. There is no Teflon.
We'll leave you with some vision of just what can go wrong in drag racing. In fact, mechanical failure caused this at the recent top door slammer meeting at Eastern Creek. I'm afraid this team are going to be very busy during their holidays. Well, on behalf of the team, we thank you for your company throughout 1996. We look forward to seeing you in the new year.
These people want their sport back, but bureaucracy's getting in the way.
It's alive and well, but it's got cancer at the moment. The cancer's called the Car Government Administration. 1,500
drag racers and fans last night packed this community hall. They were told land near Eastern Creek Raceway, promised to the sport 2 years ago to build a drag racing complex, has now been earmarked as a future rubbish tip.
This is not ignorance. This is palpable dishonesty, and they think that we've got bad memories.
Now the enthusiasts say they've had enough, with plans for a mass demonstration later in the month outside State Parliament.
They're sick of being polite, sick of being quiet, sick of being tolerant. They're going to come in and kick some doors in.
Sydney's the only mainland capital city without a dedicated drag race track since the closure of Castlereagh in 1984, and associated industries have already paid a high price.
We're hanging on by diversifying, but, you know, I didn't start this business up to do general engineering and all that sort of stuff. I wanted to build race cars. It was my passion.
This is the bare bones of a top alcohol dragster. It's costing about $150,000 to get it ready for track testing.
once it's freighted to either Melbourne or Brisbane, that is. None of the 14 local state members managed to attend last night's meeting, so the racers say they'll take their message all the way to Macquarie Street.
I want to take my suit and tie off, and I want to get down with the rest of the boys, and I want to raise hell.
Tim Collins.
Around in the setting, but my money on Cole's on. He's been very sharp in the reaction time. Jim Campos is going to have to work hard. Maybe the Aussies got the upper hand this time. I don't know, Jimmy.
I'm travelling around the country. It's worked very, very hard and put on some great racing through all the states. Coca-Cola, Eastern Creek. My sponsors, Eastern Creek Performance Centre, Prospect Hotel Motel, the crew, Adrian and Ray, the backup girls, Amy, Christy, all did a great job today. And last but not least, Brian Edwards for a great job he's done on setting up the car. He's made it very reliable. We've done 2 meetings on the same engine. We've had a great time. We hope to go to Canberra on Wednesday, so hope to do as well there. Thank you.
And Victor looks like he might have polished the flat black. Car looking very mean and evil, and a few more sponsors on the side. And when you run Keith Blacks, I think you need all the sponsorship you can get, because he has had some fun with it. But Mark Evans popping the wheels up too, and Victor doing his Wild Bunch psych out.
One of the most popular cars here at Willowbank. Haven't seen him for over 6 months, since December last year. Victor Ray blew the manifold off the car, attempting to run some nitro at the December Wild Bunch meeting.
Yeah, put the whole paraphernalia on, the breather and everything, to run a little bit of nitro. Certainly made the engine a little second hand after that pass. Victor just sitting back there, clearing the cobwebs out of Keith Black.
The quarter mile of cornerless action, that is Eastern Creek Raceway, the final 2 pairs in the State of Origin Wild Bunch, and you can see the cane toter up the back there. He wants to retain some Queensland points.
This is the consolation final. For Queensland, Michael King in the VP Commodore Hearse, and he's up against the Giant Killer, Tommy Jackson in the Datsun for New South Wales.
Action Jackson, what a burnout from him. The New South Wales team have been wild all day long. It's a big fogging in on the start line once again. Full credit to the Queensland team though, they fought back well in the second round.
There's currently 1 point difference between the two teams, and there's 2 races to go. So there's 2 points available. Can Queensland win, or can New South Wales go on to take the first round win?
Action Jackson for Eastern Creek Performance Centre backing up now. It's been a good showing for him. He just made it into the field at number 5 with a 787, and here he is in the consolation final trying to extend New South Wales' lead.
Obviously a handicapped start here to the Datsun, dialed in at a 790, whereas Michael King is dialed in at a 660. So there's a fair handicap start for King to wait on the start line.
Can Queensland even the scoreboard, or can Jackson extend it for New South Wales? Pre-stage lights on both sides of the tree. Jackson's in, now King's in. Jackson out with the front wheels in the air. Now the hearse starts to charge. Bit of shake for Jackson. Now that King comes on very, very strong. 6.67 seconds. Way too quick is Michael King. 342 kilometres an hour.
Well, King's even the score. It's 5 points all going into the last race in the first round of the State of Origin Wild Bunch. What a finish.
Peter Gratz for Queensland, 5 all. Will it be New South Wales or will it be Queensland? It will not be a draw. Steve Stanek on screen now, gets the car crossed up in the burnout.
It's a small block Commodore for New South Wales up against the might of the Keith Black 1957 Chevrolet of Queensland, Peter Gratz.
Trick paint job on the 57. It's a big warning sign to New South Wales. He's going to burn you. This is a tough car. 650s, but some low 7s from Steve Stanek. It is dial your own racing. Stanek will get the advantage on the start line. Can he hold him out?
5 all is the current score line. New South Wales would like to go to the second round in Queensland in 3 weeks, leading the series, but who can do it here?
Well, Stanek has been susceptible to tyre shake through all qualifying and all the rounds of elimination, but the car, as I said, has got a lot of horsepower and a lot of potential. But a big top-end charge of some 214 mile an hour from the 57 can be pretty daunting up the top end of the racetrack. Both cars now preparing to move into stage. Steve Stanek for New South Wales, Peter Gratz for Queensland. Stanek about to bump the car in, he's in, waiting on the Queenslander. Stanek will get the advantage off the start line, shakes badly once again. He's got problems straight off the start line, and it's going to be a Queensland victory. Peter Gratz all the way down to a 717.
Queensland 5, New South Wales 5, and it is now big fire on the infield for Steve Stanek's car. Up in flames on the infield, and it is a nasty one. They've got the extinguishers. If you're going to have a fire, that's the place to do it, right beside the fire crew and fire truck. They've shut the cars down, shut Michael King's car down. That fire does not want to go out. Fuel and oil, I'd say, and it is taking a lot of extinguishing. Unbelievable, the race is over, you think the drama's over for that.
Lunch final, and it's a Queenslander. Peter Gratz, congratulations, you must be happy.
Thanks very much, Nathan. Yeah, as you said before, it would have been nice to make a full-on race for it, and it's a great pity that Steve had some bad problems with his car. I saw him nose right off, and when I saw that happen, I thought something must have been wrong, so I just got off it to make sure that I didn't break out. So, yeah, it would have been good to make a race out of it, and I'm sorry for what happened to Steve, and I hope he's all right.
You had an incident-free day for the Heavy Metal 57 Chevy team.
So Peter Gratz gives Kermit the Cane Toad something to celebrate.
Louis Raposada. 5-second nitro top fuel action. Both these guys from Sydney. Sleek 300-inch long chassis. Jim Reed looking to set a new national record, 5:47, the current national record, held by Reed. Thunder and lightning of top fuel dragsters. Jim Reed, his car has had extensive chassis rebuilding by Dave Uehara from the United States. Flown out here to rebuild the car, trying to solve a top-end problem. Louis Raposada has run in the 5s in Heathcote Park Dragway in Victoria. A dual 5-second fast coming up.
Louis got problems. Big problem. Oh, no. Oh.
Horrendous crash, Jim Reed. The engine
Unbelievable.
comes out of the frame.
Unbelievable. Rapisada. I think he might have taken cables out there too.
Pick the front wheel.
Yeah.
All comes in one go, doesn't it?
Mate, there's not much of that car left. Look, it's broken everywhere. Look, bang, bang, bang. Cleaners up. Yeah, they're liners. They've got to be liners, they're not tubes. Hat off the blower.
Right.
Yeah, we've got it all. Oh, Louis. Pull it straight into the top gear.
Just pull it into neutral. Put the line lock switch off. Define reverse gear. It's got a special lockout on the shifter, so we cannot select reverse without first depressing this lever and pulling it back. Key into stage. We leave on 2000. This is an automatic equipped car, don't forget.
It was a pretty lazy run, it felt like. It felt like about an 810 or something like that. Surprised us, you know, to be able to go that quick. Our best run ever. 785, 175.78 mile an hour. Do you reckon I'm happy after seeing that car? We had a little bit of a drama at the finish line lights there. There was a bit of oil coming out from underneath the magneto. Bit of smoke, it sort of worried a few people, but...
And Alan Cusso-Bougen, with his 57 custom line, put on a hard-to-beat show of 2-car burnouts and dummy starts at drag strips throughout Queensland.
His name is Alan Bougen, probably known to most people as Cuzzo, of course of the many custom lines I've had over the years. The car's name's Full Metal Jacket, for the reason being of all steel bodied. Fiberglass parts around the front and rear bars. It runs all standard front end, custom line front end, except from the firewall back it's tube frame, box section chassis, and incorporates all forward running gear, motor, gearbox, end diff. As you know, the custom line comes out with the old 272 Ford wire block, but it's not really a prime example of a drag race motor, so we updated that to the big block Ford. It runs Venolia rods and pistons, a Boss 429 steel crank. The car comes in at about 33.5, 3,400 pounds, and if you want to stick a couple of £100 for me, it weighs 36 when you're racing. To be competitive, you've got to run, say, a light car, have good sponsors, have a fairly good flow of cash to be competitive. It's more or less a good time. This type of sport is to have a good time, I feel. Making the car reliable is good. If you can do that, well, then yeah, you'll become competitive because it's run on a dial-your-own type basis, wild bunch racing is. So if you can be consistent, you'll win races. But winning races and everything. It's having a good time while you're doing it, and I think that's the main thing, you know. The main problem, I guess, is if you're hurting parts, you know, then it becomes dear. Like I say, we've been pretty lucky in that department, but if we want to go a lot faster, we're going to have to lighten the car up and give the engine a big lift in horsepower as well. So at the moment, it's probably only making about 850 to 870 horsepower, but that's enough, I'd say, to make it run an 8, and that's what we're aiming for, you know.
Well, my name is Karen Bowden. I've been introduced to my family. I've got Clinton, Ricky and Alicia. Yeah, racing has changed over the years. We always like sticking to the older cars because we get more satisfaction out of it. We've always had old cars. My husband's always had custom lines and everything else. We've always at least had one custom line in the family. It hasn't been a drag car, it's been just a normal drive car. So we feel that it sort of does more for us driving older cars. We get more recognition for it. My husband's very well known for old cars, so that does help. The drag car originally, when we started building it, we didn't think it was going to turn out the way it did to present. It's got us a long way as far as the trips away and getting recognition up at Willowbank. The particular drag car we have at the moment probably helps a lot because it gets us away on holidays, which is the only time we get to have family holidays. We've been up north with it so far, twice, and getting paid to go away makes it all worthwhile. The kids really enjoy it. They have their time off school, which works out well.
Security guards have clashed with drag racing fans at Sydney's Eastern Creek. The fans are angry at government plans for a new drag strip. They say it won't work and they won't use it.
Sydney's drag racers are fired up.
We want it now!
Security guards holding back the angry racers, their target, the Minister for Sport, John Watkins.
Minister, can we ask you some questions in front of the media?
I've just got to do some work with the media.
But are we going to... No, this is the arrogance we've been copying.
Mr Watkins was calling for tenders to build a new multi-million-dollar drag strip and industrial centre at Eastern Creek, an attempt to solve a 3-year-long saga after drag racing was all but shut down at Eastern Creek and the sport lost its Sydney home.
We want it now!
Opponents say the government's proposal to build the strip next to the current track and the M4 won't work. They say cars reaching speeds of up to 500 kilometres an hour need a track with more room. They've offered their own site next door, a privately funded $15 million development.
Did we not offer to pay for our own facility?
An offer the government has rejected.
For 3 reasons. 1, environmental, 2, planning, and perhaps most importantly, financial considerations.
Not good enough, say the dragsters.
Excuse me? Is this a democracy or a bloody, like Russia was?
Dictatorship. Like Russia.
Communism.
And the saga is far from over for the government. Those opposed to its track say they won't use it and they won't give up until they have their own. They're now planning a protest march to Parliament House next month.
We want a drag strip!
Monique Wright, 7 News.
The Australian Wild Bunch, always the crowd favourite.
Conecuh Nationals in June was unfortunately the first in 33 years to be rained out. Break top door slammer has shaped into the most intriguing story of the Conecuh Nationals. Adelaide's Dave Coop and four-time champion Victor Bray are locked together at the top of the points. But Perth's Robin Judd is right behind them and really set the place alight with a world record performance when he ran a stunning 6.17 seconds. Andrew Searle's 6.25 seconds in the other lane made that run the quickest side-by-side sedan pass in the world. While those two had plenty to celebrate, Shane Elcote in the Thunder Road Willis experienced the other side of the drag racing coin when he escaped with minor injuries from this potentially disastrous qualifying run. Supercharger explosion was enormous, with Elcote benefiting from the extensive safety requirements drag racing has in place. He suffered just minor burns and an injured hand. After just the one qualifying session, Judd and Searle were happily at the top of the sheets, while Coop was back in fifth and Bray a Wreckers Hotline replay, the track, I don't know, things got loose and it just came over. Since the burnout show of Victor Bray's, the track was cleaned, there was traction compound reapplied, but I don't know, there's certainly a lot of cars getting loose out there. I don't know what they were going to be able to do with it. We'll have to wait and see. Chris Reed out of the car, A-OK.
Just surveying the damage there on the front of the car. It was relatively minor, but it just slid on its lid.
Well, after 25 years in drag racing, I've never seen an event quite finish the way this one has. Unfortunately, sometimes decisions made that seem right at the time can turn around and bite you. That's what's happened to the Willowbank management tonight. After the motorcycle accident of Peter Batley's, we knew that it was going to take about 40 minutes to clean up the braking area and make sure that Peter was fine. So rather than leave the crowd having to wait till very late in the night to see Victor Bray's burnout car, the decision was made to bring him forward. Victor's put on a great show for the crowd, of course, but unfortunately the side effect of it has been that there's now some inconsistent traction on the racetrack itself. We've seen a number of cars break traction and get very loose and out of control, and of course then Chris Reed's unfortunate rollover. As a result, the decision's been made that it's not really safe to run any more race cars.
There were lots of fast cars in the centre of the city today, but none of them was travelling at speed. They were there to deliberately disrupt traffic in the hope of convincing the government to allow a drag strip at Eastern Creek.
They cruised in from the west, the north and the south, assembled at the Rocks and then drove their message home along Macquarie Street. Trucks, trailers and drag cars clogged the streets, the convoy so long, many didn't even get close to the rally.
We thought there'd be about 300, it's more like about 700 or 800.
But those that did made the message clear. After 3 years with no professional drag racing in Sydney, they're demanding land for an independent strip at Eastern Creek. The government says one can go at the existing racetrack. The protesters say that was unworkable in the past and will be now too. They want their own home next door.
and we're going to continue to be a bug in their backside for a long time to come.
The sport needs to have drag racing in Sydney or it dies. And there's one person to blame, that's you, Mr. Carr.
No one from the government came to face the crowd, but the opposition jumped at the chance and the drag racers liked what they heard.
So what we're going to do is have a parliamentary inquiry to find out why it's got to this.
That's if crossbench support can be mustered. This afternoon, the protesters snaked their way out to Eastern Creek, a final reminder to the government that they'll wait.
Brainerd marks the final race. You'll see Winston champion Tony Schumacher at the wheel of the Excite Batteries car. Oh no, he's not leaving the family team. In 2 weeks at the U.S. Nationals, they'll debut a brand new car for Tony with a new sponsor that I just can't reveal, but it's huge. Going into the Excite car will be the lovely, the personable, the super competitive Melanie Troxel. This could be a marriage made in heaven for this team, in hell for the competition.
First round action is already complete, and if you think the cars are quick, take a look at this highlight package as we roll back to what happened earlier today. First off, Kenny Bernstein launches with a win over David Grubnick, a 470 at 306 miles an hour.
And then a big win, Dixon over Selzy. With that loss, Selzy could lose his points lead today.
Andrew Cowan, after wheel standing in qualifying, defeats Don Lampus this morning.
And Herbert makes it into the second round by beating Luigi Novelli.
Tony Schumacher, he's been tough all weekend. The Greek was in, but the Greek is out. Chris Karamessinis losing with the 459.
And Amato had no trouble beating Rhonda Hartman, a 468 to a 481.
Doug Coletta runs away from Jim Cavalieri with a 468.
And Bob Vandergrift won his first round of the year in a hole shot when he beat Corey Mack.
There you have it, round one in 45 seconds. Who's alive and who's not? Schumacher has Bernstein, Herbert, and Cowan. Not the most difficult side of the ladder if Schumacher can get by Bernstein. That's a tough group right there.
This is tough. Coletta, Dixon, Amato, Vandergrift, any one of those guys could be in the final.
It feels very much like a fall afternoon. Temperatures falling now out of the low 70s into the high 60s. The wind is picked up from that 15-mile-an-hour headwind to closer to 20. What are Doug Herbert and Andrew Cowan having to deal with now, Frank, with that extensive headwind? How does that mess with these race cars?
Well, you know, you'd think a headwind would actually slow them down, and it probably has that effect. But it also increases traction because that wind over top of the wing is going to actually give them more downforce.
Of course, this track has also been able to hold everything these guys have thrown at it all weekend long.
Precisely. The cool temperatures is really a great equalizer. You can run a lot of clutch, a lot of power, and those cars hook.
Doug Herbert against Andrew Cowan. Herbert 9th in points now, 614 behind the leader. Teams mix up the cylinders. Andrew Cowan, who you'll remember was a finalist at the U.S. Nationals last year. You saw it here on TNN alongside Corey Mack. He'll put Doug Herbert away. The numbers are a 485 at 278 miles an hour.
Herbert got a great start in the near lane, but he had some problems partway down. Cowan, on the other hand, you can see that white puff of smoke coming out of the exhaust header. That's unburnt fuel. He actually dropped the cylinder, so the fact that Herbert's engine started to blow up was a break for Cowan, even though he had some engine problems. A really lucky round of competition for him.
Now at the far end, Steve Evans has caught up with Andrew Cowan. Steve?
Well, the Aussies love to barbecue, and I think you may have just barbecued this aluminum Hemi.
That's it, man. I mean, I could see him out there for a long ways there, and it was turning the tyres and laying over, and he just went by, and I went on through and seen sparks and stuff for the flying everywhere. I feel like John Force here, man. But Cane and Automator, man, it's just absolutely fantastic. Here we go. One more round, Steve.
He is pumped.
On to Brainerd. John Force is sitting on top of the funny car point standings. This is a familiar position for the 9-time champ, but unlike years past, he's feeling the heat. Jerry Tolliver and the WWF crew are the thorn in Force's side, trying to spoil his record-breaking year. #1 qualifier in funny car. That is Ron Capps. He was to race Gary Densham in the opening round. Densham didn't start. Capps went about a quarter of the quarter mile and then pulled the plug on it.
A real break for Capps, because after putting together some back-to-back strong performances in qualifying, he smoked the tires. But, as you said, he was by himself in the first round. That gave him a win.
Who's going to win this pedal affair? Give it to Jim Epler. Give it to Jim Epler at a 6:39, 215 miles an hour. That was a pedal job from the get-go.
This is one of the most exciting things to see at a drag race, when both cars are smoking the tires. Now, Capps is out. He got a little hot. He's going to lift up the body. There's a small fire probably still on there. And as he was getting off and on the accelerator on the run, that caused the engine to blow up.
Capps #4 in points.
Well, Hoffman's a driver that has been in fuel funny cars for 25 or 30 years. He's certainly a veteran, and there isn't going to be anything that about this particular race that's going to bother either of these drivers. They're pretty experienced.
Scusa is 7th place in points. Al Hoffman is 10th in the Winston point standings. Scusa has the advantage, and he'll take it to the house as Al Hoffman breaks at near half track. A 5:36, not a spectacular number at 210 miles an hour, but
evil handling automobile. Yeah, that's what I would best term ill handling. That really was the epitome of that. I don't know what the heck happens here, but it happened to me here before against Del Worsham. He ends up breaking a throttle cable, and I'm out there, and I just crossed the center line. I mean, it's like the groove is tight or something, but all the qualifying, it was straight as a string, so go figure.
He's getting the wet light, you know?
So Doug Coletta is in the finals. Now Andrew Cowan. And Tony Schumacher. The matchup right here. On paper, they probably shouldn't even run this one, Frank. Of course, on paper, the Jets shouldn't have played the Colts in Super Bowl III either. So that's why we're here, to see what happens.
Well, the Schumacher family, Tony and his dad, Don, who was a fabulous funny car racer a number of years ago, and their crew chief, Dan Olson, they know that they can't take this round lightly, because Cowan can step up and have a good run too. So they have to pay a lot of attention to getting the car down the track and running another 460.
Intriguing here. On paper, it's going to be all Team Exide. Let's see what happens in the next 4 seconds plus.
Who do you think Doug Coletta wants to win?
Yeah. Oh my! Hold on! Who gets on the gas first? Oh my goodness! It is going to be Schumacher by inches. Schumacher at a 6:08, 291 miles an hour, to the 6:12 of Andrew Cowan. Schumacher has little luck riding with Team Exide.
Tony Schumacher told me the other week, in a tire smoking battle, when both cars smoked the tires, he has never lost one of those battles. It almost looked like Cowan was going to get him. Tony got off and on the accelerator pedal, and then right here, very, very smoothly, applied the throttle, might have been holding the brake to prevent the car from smoking the tires, and actually got the win, but by 5/1000ths of a second. That's how close it was.
And you saw that flash of flame there on Cowan's machine. If that hadn't happened, he might have still had enough power to take it away from Schumacher.
Boy, I'll tell you, Tony was probably sweating right now when he felt that thing smoke the tires off the starting line. But again, both drivers did a pretty good job of recovering. If Cowan's engine hadn't broke, who knows what would have happened.
Now remember, Schumacher has an onboard camera. Let's see how busy he got in that cockpit. Watch this.
Watch the win.
Yeah.
He releases the handbrake, gets off and on the throttle, keeps his hands on the steering wheel, so we got a camera on there. We know that he never grabbed the brake handle.
Never went to the brakes.
He did all of that with his right foot.
He should smile, Steve, and he should also say thank you to the racing gods.
Tony, that was quite a ballet you were doing on that throttle pedal.
I'll tell you what, I hit it and it went out, and it was quick. You know, it smoked the tires, and I hit it again. And I hit it again, and I said, man, I got to slow this thing down. And I come off of it and just squeezed it, and he was pulling away, and I thought, I'm in big trouble here, you know. But you just little by little gave it a little more, and must have caught him at the end, because when the chutes come out, he was there.
There's the head-to-head battle in the final of the Colonel's Truck Accessories Nationals. But the funny cars are in the staging lanes. We'll have them when we come back.
but he's going to have to be dominant right now because he has his toughest battle of the day so far with Worsham. Worsham's car is flying. Austin Coyle knows it. Bernie Federley knows it. John Force knows it. What I'm interested to see is if Austin Coyle is going to make a change on the car and try and improve the performance to get it into the low 490s.
This new t-shirt, top 10 reasons to be a Del Worsham fan. Number 10, he fixed my skateboard. Number 6, autograph lines too long at John Force's trailer. Number 4 is can't grow a mohawk. And number 1, I never liked pro wrestling much anyway.
Del Worsham looking for his first win of this year. His Seattle win a year ago, his first in 8 seasons. Meanwhile, John Force, of course, has won this year in Phoenix and Richmond and Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago, Seattle, Sonoma, California. The list goes on and on and on and on and on.
This is a great shot of these funny cars. You can see how low and narrow they are, and the aerodynamics on these cars is just amazing, which is why they can run the speeds almost as fast as the top fuel dragsters.
The winner draws Jim Epler in the finals here in Minnesota. Lots of power for John Force. So what else is new? Customs crew missed it by that much. 16/100ths of a second was the margin of victory for John Force.
When Austin can't give you the power, you rise to the occasion and beat the kid on a hole shot.
When you get my age, you got to do something. Got a lot of action collectibles to make and sell, and I'll tell you something. This old heap was trucking. You always go after that kid. And man, she got out there, and this Mustang roof sets forward. You can't see out the window, so I don't know where in the hell he is. And all of a sudden, she puts out a hole. She's over on the roll, and I'm thinking, she's going to rip the headers off this old heap. I can't even believe it. And then it come back in the groove, and I was already past the lights, and then here come the kid. And I don't know what happened, but we won, so we're excited for Cat.
The big goal began under cloudy skies this morning. Kenny Bernstein against series point leader Gary Solzi. And the #1 man in top fuel ousted just 3 minutes into the U.S. Nationals. Two of the most famous names in drag racing, Muldowney against Coletta, Shirley against Doug. Would Muldowney dominate again? Not on 3 wheels and not by crossing the center line. Doug Coletta advances. Muldowney's day is done. And in funny car, the purple machine for Tommy Johnson Jr., the #1 qualifier for the U.S. Nationals. And he, too, sees a haze of smoke signal the end of his day. The U.S. Nationals are live on TNN. Crowd in the pits. A lot of those people have been gathering around Shirley Muldowney. How great to see her back here at the U.S. Nationals. Steve had a chance to chat with her earlier. Steve?
When Shirley Muldowney won the U.S. Nationals in 1982, it was one woman against the world. Well, here this weekend, there's 5 lady drivers in the professional categories and countless more in the sportsman classes, and they're so quick to credit you with knocking down the barriers.
I don't know why.
You did.
Well, I was just happened to be the first one, Steve. I was probably in the right place at the right time. I don't know if it was the right time, because I wish I had 10 more years, actually, but I was just doing my thing.
I can remember growing up, you know, I didn't really ever have any favorites, but she's definitely the one who opened my eyes to the fact that this is something I can do, and that's kind of when I started actually thinking about getting involved with this. I used to watch her all the time when I was young. I used to go out to the races and see her drive it and working around the car, and the pink car, I just thought it was great.
She was definitely a role model for all of us to follow. I think she kind of opened that door and made us, all of us, all girls that are in motorsports in general now, not afraid to say, hey, can I try this? Or, you know, or to tell someone I want to try this. In the beginning, it had to be really hard for her to come out and say, I want to try this, you know, being that no one had ever done it. So it wasn't so hard for us.
She's my idol, and we get along great, and it's going to be neat to get to race at the same race. 5 girls at this race, that's good.
There's a very young woman that helped you come to the U.S. Nationals this year. Tell us about goosehead.com.
Amazing story, young lady, 15 years old. I wish I had her smarts, but she has a wonderful website geared for teenagers. And if you want to know how to do your homework, all you have to do is go in there and press a few buttons, and you're going to have all the help you need. I actually wish I had that kind of help when I was in school, but Ashley Power, and I love that last name. Yeah. It kind of does something to me. Ashley coupled up with some friends and formed this, friends like Richard Dreyfuss for one, everybody knows who I'm talking about, but formed this wonderful website. And through a friend who was actually part of my U.S. Nationals win in '82, Pat Galvin, the phone rang one day. Would you like to go to Indy? Well, of course I want to go to Indy. Well, we have a way to send you to Indy. And then he put this lovely young lady on the phone, and it's history, you know.
Was that win in '82 here your biggest single event victory that you remember the most?
It's the one that I love the most, the one that I cherish the most. It's my favorite. I wouldn't trade it for all the championships.
Your final round opponent in '82 was Connie Coletta.
Was it? Yes.
There's a chance that you two could face off again here this weekend in the Coletta car driven by Doug.
Well, he better be on his mark. Because, you know, we're serious. We're not here playing around. There's a certain pro racer that said, oh, Shirley Muldowney, oh, you know, she got my pit spot. Oh, she don't race. Well, we race, and we race very hard.
You're getting from the fans here this weekend. They're as happy as we are.
Well, if my emails were any indication, Steve, I wasn't getting any sleep because I was answering emails till 3 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, they've always supported us, no matter where we go. It's standing room only.
Get them, girl.
Yes.
Tell you can't beat that story right there, Frank.
It's fabulous to have Shirley back. Back in the 80s when I was racing, one of the problems was that whenever we won a race in funny cars, she won it in Top Fuel, and they used to put her on the front page instead of me. So I was always a little bit jealous, but a great ambassador for our sport.
The issue of National Drag Show that comes out every day during the U.S. Nationals, just chock full of that kind of news. It's really been a remarkable week.
Well, I think Witt's right. He's not going to be laying down, because if he lays down for Kristen, the car he owns, he might be out of a job.
Yeah, Chuck said, I'm going to worry about my business and let those folks take care of their own. Why don't we bring you up to speed now on the highlights of qualifying, getting set for the U.S. Nationals here tomorrow. On Friday night, under the lights, Top Fuel qualifying. Corey McLennan and Bob Van.
Not too many things more exciting than NHRA drag racing at night with those nitro flames.
Corey Mack qualifies number 1 at 317.57 miles an hour, a 4.655. Gary Selzy and Tony Schumacher. Selzy has not had a great weekend to this point, and again does not qualify, while Schumacher with the Army colors on board goes third.
You know, it's really important, it was really important for these guys to get a good run down on Friday night because it's cool and traction was better.
Important for the ladies too, Melanie Troxel on the X-Side colors.
And she's been racing off and on a number of years, but this is a great opportunity for her to be over there with Dan Olson and the Schumacher team. She's got a good ride there.
Qualifies number 13 with that run here on Friday night. And another of the ladies, Shirley Muldowney. Great to see her back here at IRP.
I don't think there's anybody at the U.S. Nationals is glad to see Shirley back and to run as well as she did on this run.
477, 306 miles an hour. That is 10th best overall in qualifying at that stage of the weekend. Now the funny cars took to the track. Tommy Johnson Jr. against Scott Weiss.
And TJ, he's been in the winner's circle before and he's been #1 qualifier before, but not in this car. So it was an exciting run for him. You could see throwing some stuff out the pipes. It was on fire, but 496, 301 miles an hour.
That was the #1 qualifying run at that stage of qualifying. Then John Force and Jerry Tolliver. Tolliver hoping to qualify in the lights. Wasn't going to happen.
No, he smoked the tires. Force went on to a very good run, but Tolliver continues with his troubles in the midseason.
So Force #2. Remember, Tolliver didn't qualify at Sears Point, was number 15 at Brainerd, and went out early. Frank Pedregon against Bob Gilbertson.
One of the many Pedregon brothers out here, and he had a great run on there Friday night, and that's got to make them feel a lot more comfortable throughout the rest of the weekend, knowing that you qualified well on Friday.
#3 for the Checker, Shucks, and Cragen team. #3 qualifying effort. Corey Lee has had a great week of work. Dollars maybe getting a little bit short, but not the effort from Corey.
Well, you know, Corey has been one of the drivers that has been off and on. We see him some races, and then he's gone, but it's great to see him back in the saddle and a 5:01.
That's 4th best in qualifying here on Friday night. Then it was Whit Bazemore and Del Worsham, both trying to earn their way into the U.S. Nationals field, and it won't happen on this run for either man.
That's a problem for Whit because remember, he's got another driver out there too in his car.
Right, he's got Kristen Powell in the machine that he owns, and there you see the numbers for Del Worsham, who got the win, but not enough to qualify. And Jerry Tolliver, Cannon's in, but Tolliver is not yet qualified.
And Tolliver was the guy that was leading the points at the first of the season and seemed to be a real threat to John Force, but they've been having some real difficulties here the last few weeks.
And Tolliver still not in the most interesting story. We talk about John Force. He is, as always, attracting a crowd similar to those that flocked around to hear Frank Hawley years ago. Steve is down there somewhere.
For John Force, the U.S. Nationals was the race he couldn't win, then it was the race he couldn't lose, and now he's somewhere in the middle. But all in all, you love this big old get-together.
We love it. This is the granddaddy. Anybody's here, and everyone's coming with their guns loaded. Bottom line, we tested last week. There's a lot of money here with the Bud Shootout, a lot of money with winning the race, but mainly it's about those valuable NHRA Winston points. We ran last week. Tony's car, his Syntec, my Castrol car. We spent probably 60 grand testing. We made 16 runs in 2 days. So we're ready, but I hope we're not over ready.
Tolliver gave you a real fright earlier in the season. Is he fading a bit?
No, I think you learn a lot about being on the road out here. Strategy. Dale Armstrong, Bob Brooks, his crew chiefs, they're very aggressive. We were struggling. All of a sudden, they didn't qualify. We made a move, and we won the race. Came back next week. They went out first round. We won again. We made the move. Then we won again at Brainerd. No, it's timing. Bottom line, good for us, bad for him. That's why we're trying to really focus going into this first session tonight, not to screw up, smoke the tires, going after that low ET money. We're going to try to get this thing qualified.
How do you keep your level of enthusiasm so high?
Well, number one, I like to eat. That's real important. Racing's what we do, but you got a hot rod. It runs over 300 miles an hour, quarter mile in less than 6 seconds. It can set less than 5 seconds. Bottom line, it can set you on fire, and that gets your energy level right up. The fans are great. They keep you going all day long, but it's really just the love of racing. It's the camaraderie of the team, the helmet on, nighttime, especially nighttime racing. It's awesome.
How is life in general right now for John Force?
Life couldn't be better, and you know me, that's what really worries me. See, when I'm on the bottom, like I've been the first 15 years of my career, I had nowhere to go but up, so I knew which way to go. Now that I'm on top, I'm worrying about falling off. So I focus harder, more sleep, less beer, you know the routine. But yeah, I'm real nervous about it. Even having a points lead bothers me. When I'm behind, then it changes the way you think about it. But I'm okay.
You are okay.
Hey, did I notice an extra tinge of maturity and mellowness there?
Oh, I wouldn't count on it.
I hope not. I hope not.
It will not last long, but John's right. There's nothing like a good funny car fire to keep you awake.
I would expect so. On the line come the elimination rounds that you'll see here tomorrow with 4 hours of coverage, as now Dean Scusa and Whit Bazemore are the 4th and final pair in this opening round of the Budweiser Shootout. Win, lose, or draw, nobody can beat him on those burnouts. As you're on board now with Dean Scusa.
That's the finish line you can see right out in front of him there. So he goes a long ways down the track, about 800-900 feet down the racetrack, and it backs up to the center of that lane.
2000 Dodge Avenger against the 2000 Camaro, the Kendall Matco Camaro Z28.
You have to do two different things. You're trying to win the Bud Shootout, but you need a conservative enough setup to get the car qualified if you're not qualified already. It's very tricky.
Almost dead even at the start. Who's got the power? It's Dean Scusa with the power. The Matco Tools Dodge Avenger with a ride on board now.
That's the most exciting seat on the planet right there, accelerating at 5 Gs, 300 miles an hour in a funny car. Isn't much that you could compare to that.
So Scusa
got a fast car. Not as fast as it usually is, John Force. A 510 over Del Worsham, that's very conservative.
Well, actually, you know, it was real hot and muggy, and then a cloud cover come in, and we just kind of missed our tune-up. That's what Coyle said. Thankfully, Tony's car got back and moved up in the pack. We'll give him a race. Both cars are equal, so best car gets to the final.
So Tony can burn up your parts to beat you, is that what you said?
Yeah, well, you know, when we really need Tony, we need him right now. This ain't about points. This is about a man staying motivated, trying to win this Bud Shootout. It's a lot of money. His car's running as good as mine. Bottom line, if he can outrun me, he's got a better shot at the final.
Go find a cool place, will you?
I hear you, I hear you.
Well, Jim Epler's car apparently has a broken wing, even though he had the lowest elapsed time in the first round of the Budweiser Shootout. What's the deal?
Well, that was a great run, but actually all the parts have been really good this weekend. The car hasn't been hurting anything. Really taking a little different approach. You know, I'd love to have run the 495 the first day and you know, kind of set it, but we're trying to run low 5.0s every run and not beat ourselves, you know, and you look at the history of the Big Bud sometimes and all the hype and money, you know, gets you kind of excited and you know, maybe a slower car will win, but you know, 5.0s I think will do it today.
Smart racing. That's your plan.
That is the plan. Thanks.
As Drew Carey is fond of saying, Cleveland rocks. Well, Cleveland native Dean Scusa rocked his way through round number one. A pretty good race, actually. It's Whit Bazemore.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what they tell me. I never saw him. The last time I saw him, he was getting in the car. But I heard him, man. You know, as a driver, you can really feel the presence of another guy, and I definitely felt him.
Can you step this car up from a 510? You may have to match Jim Epler.
You know, we really tried at that time, but, you know, we're taking baby steps. I mean, that track is so finicky out there. And, you know, being that we're on the bottom half of the field right now as far as qualifying, you got to remember we're trying to qualify, too. It's a rough race. It always is, because not only are you trying to win that $100,000 that they're dangling in front of you Budweiser folks, but you're also trying to qualify for the big go on Monday. So it offers an interesting juxtaposition.
An interesting what?
You know what I'm talking about, baby.
We are in Claremont, Indiana, and there is Dean Scusa set to go against Jim Epler here as we continue our coverage of the Budweiser Shootout. If you're just joining us along the way, it was Antron Brown taking top honors earlier in the Holly Pro Stock Dominator duel for the Pro Stock bikes. He's on a hot streak, and now we're down to Force Pedregon, that's Tony Pedregon, Dean Scusa, and Jim Epler for the next round of the Budweiser Shootout.
So this is the last round of qualifying that these drivers can use for qualifying tomorrow's eliminations. The final round is not going to be used for qualifying, but right now what they've got in their minds is that $100,000 paycheck, and they're just 2 runs away from it.
Jim Epler, that WWF sponsorship has really been a godsend, quite honestly, for him, because there were so many questions as to earlier in the year and last year. Of course, they announced this association, Epler and Tolliver, effective with this weekend a year ago, and really it's taken a whole new life unto itself. Epler's operation has, with Tolliver, of course, at the controls.
Yeah, and you know, Jim's career, although he was the first funny car driver over 300 miles per hour, has been pretty good, but a lot of ups and downs, and as everyone knows, motorsports is extremely expensive, and to have the WWF money in this sport is really good for everybody.
Dean Scusa right there, co-hosting the popular Hot Rod show right here on TNN. He was the #1 qualifier earlier this year in Atlanta. As a matter of fact, that was his first #1 qualifying effort in his 9-year career. And it seems as though they have started to find some consistency in that Dean Scusa operation.
And he was talking about taking baby steps, and that's what they have to do out here. If you want to improve the performance, you can't do it a lot at a time. You can't take big chunks out of there. The racetrack's just not going to tolerate it.
Now, Scusa advanced earlier with a 5.10 at 302 miles an hour. Got the win over Whit Bazemore. Epler advanced with a win over Ron Capps at 5:05 with a 3 at 295 miles an hour. This should be a good one. The red machine is Epler. The Matco machine, that's Dean Scusa. Close at the start. Close at 1,000 feet. And the win light to Jim Epler by oh so little at a 5.08. 200 now with Dean Scusa.
That's the view he's got. He's hanging on to that 3,000, 5,000 horsepower funny car, gets it down to the end, gets the parachute out. That's the lever he was reaching for up on the roof. Starts to slow the car down, but he doesn't like to see Epler out in front of him.
Not much of a view, but Jim Epler has advanced on, and he will race for that $100,000 bonus against either John Force or Tony Pedregon. They'll be upcoming for you here in just a moment or so on TNN Sport.
Today and here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the finalists in the Budweiser Shootout, the WWF, and Jim Epler, and the ultimate battler, John Force. You don't need that Tolliver team to get $100,000.
No, that can motivate you, buddy. We don't need to arm him up with more parts, so we need to take that 100. This isn't about points right now. It's just about taking the money from him, so we break his stride.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
For Jim Epler, this could be Sunday Night Nitro. There's $100,000 on the table, just one catch, and you know what that is. It's called John Force.
Yeah, John Force is tough. We appreciate the money that Budweiser puts up for this race, but I'll tell you what, those Ford Mustangs have been tough all year, and they got us the last race in Brainerd, and I desperately need to take out Force with this WWF Camaro, and got some new parts saved up just for this round, and we're going to do our best.
Stay with us. It's going to be a beauty. The final smackdown, and the Budweiser Shootout is coming up.
The burnouts are underway for $100,000. Welcome back to Indianapolis Raceway Park, the Budweiser Shootout. John Force, Jim Epler. The winner takes home $100,000. Jim Epler, John Force for $100,000. Advantage for Force. Up in smoke goes Epler. Write the check to John Force at 499, 307 miles an hour. It was over in a hurry.
That team absolutely deserves it.
Bernie Federle and the whole crew there celebrating yet another win in the Budweiser Shootout.
A great driver, and then to have a team like that, that's why they end up in these winner circles.
And Steve, it's going to be around this time tomorrow when things wind up, so it may be this temperature, if not a degree or two cooler. The man's left a calling card.
Oh boy, and if you win the Bud Shooter and tomorrow's U.S. Nationals, there's an additional $50,000 bonus. Force, you got $100,000 in your hip, buddy. How's it feel?
You can slam dunk, you can feel the burn, whatever you want to do. Bottom line, all you need is some Austin coil horsepower backed up by Bernie and Medlin. We got a bad old hot rod here for Castle and Ford, and I'm excited. I've been a long time since I've been here at the Bud Shootout. Last time I was in fire with this old heap, but I'm proud of it. She's a collectible, an action collectible, and all pro bumper to bumper. Budweiser, keep the money, give me the beer.
That'd be a lot of product. Tim Schuler of Anheuser-Busch is down here somewhere. He's got the trophy, he's got the check, and he's got a cold brew for John Force. Eli?
Remember we said earlier about a little more maturity, a little more mellow?
And I told you it wasn't going to last, didn't I?
Force is the most successful drag racer of all time. He is also the fastest drag racer on the planet. He drove his funny car at a blistering 516 kilometers per hour.
That's a great feeling. That's an accomplishment. It's great to go in the record books. Nobody's ever outrun the dragsters but us. And I'll tell you what, I think we can do it again. We're a little bit humble about the king of speed because the dragsters were supposed to be, but they're not now, and that's the way it is.
Previously, the record had always been held by the streamlined top-fuel dragsters, never by a funny car. Then John Force came along.
We built the horsepower, and our old hot rod just kind of stood up for the whole class of funny cars and said, hey, we're not little brothers to the dragsters. We're the king of speed now.
John Force is the king of his sport, but it wasn't always like this for the one-time trucker.
As a kid, I had polio in my right leg. I've been wearing a helmet since I was little, racing go-karts, that type of stuff. And when I got into college, I realized that I had a lot of problems, you know, with my leg-wise. And I knew right then that if I was going to have a future with sport, I needed to get something to do the running for me.
Now he drives for the best team in the business, Castrol. It's a partnership that has brought 8 championship titles. The car is actually called a funny car. Its design is based on a hot rod with the engine in the front and a short wheelbase. It's not about grace. It's all about brute strength and acceleration. The engine is a supercharged V8 running on nitromethane. It generates an astonishing 6,000 horsepower, 3 times that of a Spitfire fighter plane. But this sport is not just about who has the best machine. It's about the skill and courage of the driver.
You're only out there for 5 seconds. It's not like NASCAR where you drive around for 3 or 4 hours. All your decisions have to be made by what we call seat of the pants. You got to hit the throttle, react to the Christmas tree. I've never looked at an oil pressure gauge in my life. Once I leave the starting line, I don't look down. It's tough, but with a lot of experience, it's easy for me.
Easy maybe. Dangerous, certainly.
But bottom line, I've been there, I've been where I shouldn't have come back. I've been in the burn center a number of times. I've been end over end at speeds at over 300 miles an hour. Never really been hurt. When it lights up, it's very scary because it's the fear of rolling over where you get trapped in the car, because if the smoke stays in there, you can't breathe.
John has had many extreme crashes, but thanks to his safety gear, he's so far walked away without serious injury.
You have a lot of fear, you have a lot of respect, and when you train yourself to live from the fear, if they take that away, you don't have the reflexes, you don't have the adrenaline.
The car accelerates from 0 to 480 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds. When he hits the throttle, John is hit by a massive G-force.
It's a real rush. When you hit that throttle, it'll shove you down in the seat. There's a lot of G-force. You can feel it on your face. They've compared it with a space shuttle, but this car makes 4 to 5 Gs on the initial hit of the throttle. You know, you got 6,000 horsepower shoving you a direction, you're trying to control it. If it's right, it's easy. But if it's wrong, it's tough. I always compare it with getting a bull by the horns. That thing gets out there 200, 300 feet. It gets sideways, it moves over out of the groove. It takes all your muscle to pull it back in.
The only way to stop is with a parachute.
When the chute's blossom at over 300, it just jerks the car back. And you're going that way, and the G-force throws you into the belts, and it'll pound on you. So I try to keep them real tight. But if they're loose at all, they'll just black and blue you, they'll bruise you. It's a real rush. It's hard to explain. We always say it's better than sex. It's not about a paycheck. It's about being a champion and beating the opponents.
From motorsport moment that wasn't so popular. A drag meeting in Tennessee has ended with one driver in a critical condition, another wondering just how he made it through the day. After a perfect start in one of the heats, local driver Larry Dixon lost control of his machine. It crashed midway through the run. He's in a critical condition in hospital. Somehow, fellow driver Tony Schumacher, no relation, escaped serious injury in what appeared to be a more destructive crash. He survived this extraordinary cartwheel off the strip, but the same could not be said for his very expensive drag racer.
I think this is just a burnout by Wayne Bailey. You're mistaken. Keep watching. Burnout's over. Wayne's going to back up, right? Wrong. Wayne's got himself a problem. Like the car won't shut off. It won't even slow down with the shootout. It's still picking up speed. Now watch this piece of driving. I'm going to shut up. Wayne Bailey's 15 minutes of fame. The motor was still running in the sand trap. Other than hyperventilation, he was okay. Wayne says, shut this damn thing off.
And the only way they could do it was eventually squirt some fire.
Underway with Australia's biggest drag racing event, the Conica Winter Nationals at Willowbank Raceway.
Alcohol cars of all different shapes and sizes, which makes Top Comp something really appealing for the television viewer and of course the spectator at Willowbank Raceway.
And of course, as you mentioned, Steve, the die-your-own aspect, these races nominate their own handicap time. The handicap is plugged into the Christmas tree starting system. One car will lead first, one will do the chasing, and in a perfect race they are very close to on the bottom.
And this is a classically perfect race. We're seeing both competitors getting all crossed up. What an amazing race. He's going to hit the wall.
Tommy Jackson into the wall with the Komatsu car. He red lighted just to rub salt into the wound. Whoa, what a wild ride. Let's have a look on the Wreckers Hotline replay. Jackson got loose, got over to the sideline, and all of a sudden Coleman in trouble. He pulls the chute. If he hadn't pulled that parachute, I think we would have had a two-car collision. So both of those guys will remember this one for quite some time, I think. There's very little doubt that drag racing is gaining an international reputation. Right throughout Southeast Asia, it's largely through satellite television broadcasts. Well, from Willowbank Raceway, we've come up here to Sepang International Circuit, the home of Formula One in Malaysia, to put on a special drag racing demonstration. John Payne's 1963 Corvette and Dean McLennan's Castrol funny car have absolutely wowed the fans in support of a 12-hour production race here at Sepang. These fans have never ever seen a supercharged engine. With undercover grandstand seating for over 75,000 people, the Sepang circuit is huge, dwarfing the 30,000 spectators who attended this production race. Both teams enjoyed the opportunity to perform in an all-new area for drag racing. The atmosphere, just the people, they're so excited about it. They're used to seeing Formula One, and as soon as we start up our cars and that, they just run over to the fence and just unbelievable. They just can't believe how much power, how much noise we can make. It's just good. The facility here at Sepang, this main straight, you'd think it was made for drag racing. Oh, certainly is. It's Eastern Creek 10 times better. It is. We just love it. This would be a good place to set up drag racing in Malaysia. We had the experience of the Prime Minister of the country coming down and asking questions about their cars. You must have found that an extraordinary experience. Oh, it certainly is. Just the Prime Minister knew so much about it. He knew the right questions to ask, so he's done his homework on the vehicles, and it's just atmosphere is just unbelievable. I think they're pretty starstruck about the whole thing. Considering that we have so much more horsepower than they're used to, even in Formula Ones, I think just seeing the amount of power.
This weekend in Top Door Slammer, it's going to be tough not only to race, but to qualify to race. See, there are 10 entries, and yet the field is only 8 competitors. And right through qualifying, the task will be to make that field. Now, probably the underdog will be Brisbane's own Les Winter. He's a small bucks racer. He funds it all out of his own pocket. He and his wife Marianne, with their business Winter Smash Repairs, fund the entire team themselves. They don't have the corporate sponsorship. This weekend, Medibank Private are on board to help out, but for Les Winter, can he make the field?
Well, we're very optimistic this weekend. We've failed to qualify twice this past 12 months and we don't want to let it happen to us again. We've bought some new components, spent some right money in what we hope are the right places, and come into qualifying, we hope to be in the field.
Icebreak Top Door Slammer is populated by a mix of reasonably well-financed teams and privateers like the Winters. It's also amongst the most popular and competitive of all the categories of championship drag racing. Qualifying didn't start all that well for Les back in June when a pretty untidy run resulted in a 7.65. He wasn't the only driver having problems. Shane Elcote was back behind the wheel of the Thunder Road Willies and ran into some trouble. Fortunately, Elcote escaped serious injury when his supercharger exploded, but did lose a fingertip and wasn't to be seen again at the event. The championship hopefuls also experienced mixed fortunes in the first qualifying session. Second place Victor Bray had another wild ride in his 57 Chevy, and his 7.68 second class only just snuck him into 8th ahead of Winter. First and fourth in the championship, Dave Coop and Peter Kaperis went side by side, with Coop running 6.50 to qualify fifth and Kaperis with a 6.41 to go to third. The pairing that did set the qualifying sheets on fire though was Andrew Searle beside championship favourite Robin Judd. A 6.17 for Judd equalled the world record, and Searle's 6.25 made this the quickest side-by-side sedan drag race in history. Well, just talk us through the run that time, Robin.
Well, it just left so quick. I just remember hitting second, then hitting third, and then it was all over pretty much. And then I saw Andrew come past just after the end of the finish line there, so I knew I got in front of him. But I'm wrapped for him running a 25 as well.
Yes, so Andrew, a 6.25, that's a time that would put you normally around the number one qualifying position, but I guess you must be pretty pleased with your performance here tonight.
Yeah, I am, Paul. We've had a pretty bad year, and just to come back like this is really good. I mean, we ran a good number last year and was lucky enough to win. And hey, number 1 and 2 qualifiers certainly doesn't mean you're going to win, but it's just good to run some good numbers again, and we're back. So.
Now, Andrew, tomorrow you've got 2 opportunities to qualify again. What'll your tactics be then?
Sit down and drink coffee and relax.
Well, a very confident Andrew Searle, but is Robin Judd as confident? What's your tactic for tomorrow?
Oh, just more of the same, hopefully.
There's world record runs last night out here at Willowbank, but you weren't amongst them.
Certainly was the case, Paul. We tried a few things on the engine and they were about as useful as a chocolate teapot, so we paid the price and we're changing them right now. But halfway through the run I aborted, then I realised that the weather may turn bad today, so I had to get back into it, and luckily I did. We just got into the field and now the rain's starting to come down. It may have been a wise move.
The rain certainly did come down, and the event had to be postponed and all the races would have to return in October. Well, it's 4 months since we're out here at Willowbank Raceway for the Conacher Winter Nationals. Les Winter is still chasing his first Winter Nationals title. The sun's shining, the car's got a brand new paint job, the chemistry's still the same. I guess, Les, the Winter Nationals of June is one race meeting you want to forget.
Well, we did have a shocker there, and yes, we would like to forget it and move on. We've encountered a few problems since also. We were a victim of the westerly wind some weeks back, and on my property where I keep the race car, the body was on a stand outside our workshop and a gust of wind caught it and did a fair bit of damage, so we were forced to repaint the car with about 2 weeks before the race. But on the good side, we found some horsepower in the cylinder heads, courtesy of Jimmy Reed. So hopefully that weekend of 4 months ago is behind us and we move on to bigger and better things.
While Les Winter was preparing to fight his way into the 8-car field, it was also time to get the thoughts of the 3 main championship hopefuls.
The most recognisable driver and top door slammer in Australia is undoubtedly Victor Bray. Now Victor comes into the Winter Nationals in an unusual position. He's won the Australian Championship for the last 4 years, but this year he's trailing in the points. And Victor, this year your reputation's really on the line.
Yeah, door slammer's getting tougher and tougher as time goes by, but I mean, hey, that's what we're all out here for. If the guys can't beat you, it's not really a competition, is it? So it's been really good, and we've had a couple of meetings that I'd say sort of bad luck, sort of haunted us, I suppose. And you know, coming into the final event here, I'm 2 points behind Coopsy and got Juddy right there behind me, so it's going to be real interesting. I think it's going to be one of those deals where you come out here and whoever sort of can put it together on the day under the conditions may just have a slight advantage over the guys, regardless of reputations.
So Victor, since we saw you last year at Willowbank, what have you done to the Chevy?
We have flicked a new bit of paint on it since the last Winter Nationals, and we've been out here, done a couple of test days, upgraded the superchargers, exactly the same type and everything. It's just we just upgraded to a later style, later model, you know, that's brand new. And the other one had about 400 runs on it. They say they don't wear out, but it must be. So yeah, and that's about it. We've been out here for a couple of test days, had some mixed results. I think what's happened is the hot days. This car's always liked the hot days and the slippery sort of racetracks. So, and some of the other cars like Juddy's and Coopsy's, those cars seem to like going down the real good racetracks. So we might be looking at Bov for some help.
But Victor, how important is to Victor Bray to always win?
It's real good to always win. I mean, obviously, if you go home a loser, you go home less happy than what you are if you won, you know. So, I mean, you come out here to win. I mean, everybody's doing this sport here because it's just so competitive. And Top Door Slam has gone into such a competitive atmosphere now that, you know, the friendliness that we sort of, you know, kick around is still there for sure after the meeting. Before the meeting, everyone's, you know, we're heads down. We're really trying to make the thing work.
So in the days leading up to the race meeting, is Victor Bray a hard guy to get along with?
Oh, I don't think so. My crew might tell you different to that, and my wife. But no, you know, we work pretty hard, you know, long hours and stuff to keep things going. The trouble is some of these other guys, they're pretty much on the money, like Robin, Judd and Coops. They're running as good as they've ever run. And they probably didn't need any test days, and test days may have only worked against them. Whereas, you know, we're not really on top of what we've been doing lately. The last 6 or 8 months we've tried a bit of new stuff, and it's probably been burned us a little bit. So, you know, we needed the test days to come out here. And when you do a couple of test days a week, there's a lot of work involved. It's like running 4 or 5 Winter Nationals a month.
Robin, in the championship chase, you're currently sitting 15 points behind the leader. It's 4 months since we saw you at Willowbank Raceway. Can you repeat that 6:17 qualifying pass that you put down then?
I certainly hope so, but as you can feel, the air's a bit warmer. We're not going to have the good air conditions that we had back in June, but if the track's up to it, we should put in some good performances.
You've had a long time to think since then, Robin. What sort of thought processes have you had coming up to this race meeting?
Well, yes, we have had a long time to think, but we've taken the attitude, well, we should just do more of the same. We should just get out there and do exactly what we did last time. We've got slightly different conditions, but we'll adapt to that.
Well, Dave Coop, coming into the championship, you're the leader at the present time. They're hot on your heels. Can you maintain the lead?
Well, I'd like to think we could. They've been there all year, same sort of competition, but it's one of those situations. I guess the luck's your way on the day. Well, that's where we can be, but we'll give it our best shot.
Qualifying got back underway for Ice Break Top Door Slammer as part of the Conical International Phoenix Homes United Thunder. Dave Coop consolidated his place in the field with a 6.49. Bray showed the benefit of the 4-month delay, getting off the bump spot with a much improved 6.36, while Judd had troubles with an oil breather coming off and a broken supercharger bag. Les Winter debuted his new paint job to the fans with a huge burnout and then unleashed a great run with a personal best time of 6.39 seconds.
Thanks, buddy.
Les, a 6:39 at 2:12.
You're looking at a happy panel meter right now.
Yeah, that's a personal best, isn't it?
Well, yes it is. We've only ever run 150, 140, and this is our first 30.
And that's the quickest pass you've ever done over How many years of racing?
27, I believe, this year.
Okay, maybe the paint job had something to do with it.
I couldn't get noticed. I'm running 640, so I painted it purple, and now we're getting noticed.
The final qualifying session late in the Phoenix Night of Thunder saw the cars getting quicker still. Brave moved back ahead of Les Winter with a 6.35, while Coop stayed in number 7. Judd dropped in a 6.33 ahead of Brett Stevens' 6.44 to show he was still very much in the hunt for the title. Andrew Searle recorded the quickest pass of the night with a great 6.30. Les Winter was solidly in the field but keen to develop on his 6.39, and when